Okay, Jai Hind to all. Myself Pancham Singh. I am going to discuss one of the important topic of the computer network. The subject code is BCS 603, and this subject is running in B.Tech third year, 6th semester. So I am going to discuss about the computer network. What is computer network and why computer network is important, and it is playing important role for the engineering students. So first I am going to discuss about the what is the computer network. So computer network basically it is a interconnected collection of autonomous computers. So if you are going to discuss about the computer network, so computer network means a network of the interconnected systems that play a key role for data transmission. Maybe they have played a key role for the communication, for the business purpose, for the automobiles, maybe mobile communication, maybe another field. We can use computer network for the different areas for communication. So computer network play a very key role for the business purpose. So because a business broadly we can connect a business from the local area as well as global area. So by network you can communicate, by network you can transfer your business, expand your business worldwide. So then we need the computer networks. So able to exchange information. So second point is how you will exchange the information from one computer to another computer, yeah, one location to another location, maybe local, maybe global. So we can communicate. Next point is no master slave relationships are there. Sometimes if you are doing the business in local, so there is no need of the master slave. But when you are doing the business in the global, then maybe in the industrial oriented, then we will need the master slave relationship. Now computer network and distributed system. So why computer network play a key role for data transmission? So it is used for the visible to users. User can visible in the computer networks, but distributed systems sometimes we are not visible, but although we are communicating. So that is the distributed system. Explicitly log on to one machine and explicitly submit jobs remotely, explicitly handle all the related jobs done automatically by the system or the user's knowledge. So we can complete many types of jobs, maybe business type of job, maybe communication, maybe data transmission. So by using the simple way, a user can communicate, maybe can transfer their data, maybe can create a business environment. But by using the distributed systems, we can access all the things by remotely. So remote process is a type of way we can do the communication. So usage of computer networks, why computer network is important, you know very well, everyone is know, because we need the network for data transmission, we need the network for communication, for business expansion. So first point is business application. So first is business application, because network is so important, play a significant role for the business purpose. So business application means sharing the resources, printer sharing, communication medium. So if you are going to establish a business, so what type of data we are transmitting, what type of business you are doing, that is the important. Second point is home applications. How network play an important role for the home applications. So in network, maybe you are using Geo fiber, yeah, maybe using a broadband network. So how network is play an important role in your particular home appliances, yeah, home applications, how all devices are connected in the network through which we can communicate, we can chat, maybe send message, send mail, whatever you want you can do by home application. Maybe mobile user is also playing a key role for the data transmission by using the computer network. So computer network is not a limited area, it is very big area where we can communicate by business purpose, maybe by home applications you can use as a network. My mobile users also use the for communication. And social issues, there are n number of social issues are there when you are using the computer network. So there is some advantages and some disadvantages are also there, because when you are doing the business, when you are sharing any information, any data on the internet, so sometimes that can be beneficial for the human being, but sometimes it is not beneficial. So that is the important. So it will be playing a key role for both types of categories. Now, business application of the networks, a network with two clients and servers. So if we are going to establish a business, so here is the server, this is the server, and this is the client, client 1 and client 2. So they are working in the network. So that is called the client server model. Now, second is the how client and server they can communicate. They are integrated to each other for data transmission, for communication. The question is, client send a request, that request will receive by the server, and then server is replying his her request to the client. Then they are connected to each other, and after that they will start for the data transmitter for the communication. So home network applications, how home network applications are important and how you are using home network. So these are the four important points. The point first is access to remote information. So if you're going to access any data information, so remote informationally, remotely you can access the data. Second point is person to person communication. If one person want to communicate to another person, can communicate by network. Second point is interactive entertainment. So by using the network, you can establish the entertainment. You can do the entertainment, play the entertainment, because entertainment is one of the important part of the internet, through which we can share your any videos, your data in internet. Then you can also watch the movie, play the game, whatever you want you can do. Now next point is electronic commerce, where you are using e-commerce. E-commerce is playing 4 categories, divided into 4 categories. So there you can communicate for the different business purposes. So these are the 4 important points. They are basically used for the home network application. Now how home network application is working? So it is working in the peer-to-peer communication mode. So peer-to-peer communication means there is no fixed boundary. Any people can communicate to anyone in a peer-to-peer environment. So this is the peer-to-peer environment. Now, how e-commerce is important, how e-commerce is working. So where you are working as a e-commerce. So e-commerce is working for the B2C, for business to consumer. So by business to consumer, you can communicate. For business to business, you can communicate. So business to business is another part of the e-commerce. Third one is business to government, government to consumer, consumer to consumer, and peer to peer. Peer to peer. So these are the categories where e-commerce can be established, or you can say you can establish a network through which we can communicate. So these are the different modes of e-commerce communication. Now mobile network users, how they are working. So these are the categories where combination of wireless network and mobile networks are working. So wireless network and mobile network, basically desktop computers in offices, they are not allowed. For notebook computers used in the hotel room, sometimes it is not for the wireless, but it is for the mobile. So these are the class category where wireless and mobile communication and what are their applications are given here. So if we are going to discuss about the network, so we are going to discuss about the types of network that is important. First is the local area network. So how local area network is important? What type of communication you can perform in a local area network? What is the range of the local area network? That is important. So these are the key points if we are going to discuss about the local area network. Now next is the metropolitan area network. If you are going to discuss about the city, then we can discuss about the metropolitan area network. If you are going to discuss about an institution, in a college, in a university, then we are discussing about the local area network. If you're going to discuss about the wide area network, so we are discussing about the subcontinent. By globe, we are discussing about the globe, not for the country, we are discussing about the worldwide. So then we can use the wide area network. So these are the types of network where you can use for the different purposes, for business purposes, for communication purposes, for calling purposes. So there are n number of way you can use for these networks. Wireless network, this is another important network through which we are not established a connection oriented services. So by using connectionless services, you can communicate. Broadcast network, types of transmission technology. These are the transmission technology through which we can use the broadcast network. Types of transmission technologies, broadcast links, point to point links. So these are the broadcast network through which we can establish the connection and communicate. So these are the ranges of the communication. So if you are going to discuss about the classification of the network, so what are the range of that network? So personal area network is range of 1 kilometer, 1 meter distance in which the personal area network is established, then you can communicate. If you are going to discuss about the local area network, so it is range from the 10 meter to 100 meter, yeah, 1 kilometer in a campus, in a room, in a building. So this is the local area network. If you are going to discuss about the above 1 kilometer means range of 10 kilometer, then we are discussing about the metropolitan area network that can be discussed about the city. If we are going to discuss about the wide area network, so what about the wide area network? It is discussed about the country 100 kilometer, continent 1000 kilometer, yeah, 10,000 kilometer above 1000 kilometers. So we are discussing about the wide area network. If we are discussing about the internet, so we are discussing about the more than 10,000 kilometer, then we can discuss about the internet. So these are the categories where we can discuss about the range of different types of networks. Local area network, everyone is know it is basically work on the local in a network in a few kilometer distance in a building where we can establish the connection. So what type of size of data we can use, what type of technology you can use, what topology you are going to use. So that is the important, because these are the play a key role for the establish a connection. So why LAN is restricted? Because LAN is restricted because we are using the small distance for the communication. Okay. So if you're going to discuss about the data transmission rate, so data transmission rate basically ranges from 10 Mbps to 100 Mbps up to 10 Gbps in a local area network. So this is the range of the local area network where data transmission rate can be vary. So these are the local area network basically depend upon different topologies, what type of topology we are using to establish a network. So these are the some few topology we have taken, although we have many topology like bus topology, star topology, ring topology, mesh topology, tree topology, hybrid topology. So there are n number of topology. They are used for different purposes. So these are the bus topology, simple topology, that is bus topology, and second is the ring topology. So these are the two topology. They are used for the network in a local. Local area network basically divided into two categories, static and dynamic. So static means something is fixed, that is called static. So allowing each machine to be broadcast in a round robin manner, that is called the static. And if you are going to discuss about the dynamic, then you are discussing about the centralized and decentralized. Centralized means a single entity determines who goes next. Centralized means everything is structured. So what is the next and what is the next, that is depend upon the centralized structure. So decentralized means each machine decide for itself whether to transmit or not. So this decentralized work in another way. So it depend upon the machine, either machine will transfer or not, that is decentralized. But in centralized way, if you are going to establish a network, so it is already defined that who is going for the next, that is centralized. So these are the metropolitan area network where we are discussing about a city in range of the 10 kilometer, how we are establish a connection and how you are going to communicate to in a city for data transmission. So that is that you can take the example like in Ghaziabad city, we can establish a connection and people can use the services in a metropolitan area network. So wide area network. Third one is the wide area network. Why wide? Why the name of the wide means if you are going to discuss about the wide, then we are going to discuss about the distance, because we are going to increase the size of the distance for the communication. A wide area network spans a large geographical area, a country or continent. So if you are going to discuss about the country or continent, then we can discuss about the wide area network. So basically it contains of the n number of host, subnet and contents. So transmission medias may be switches, maybe hub, maybe router, maybe gateway. So there are different types of technologies we are using for communication, connection of the network, different networks. So these are the basically used for the wide area networks. Maybe host, we are going to discuss about the host. So host is a type of customer, host is a person. Maybe system, that is play a role for the data transmission, maybe communication. Subnet is another important part to play a key role for the connection of the networks. And what type of transmission media, what type of transmission line we are using, that is important. So these are the important part of the wide area network. So this is the example of wide area network. This is the subnet, and this is the router, because router is playing a key role for data transmission in different networks, and it play an important role for data transmission and choosing the optimal path for data transmission, and will it take the minimum time. So that is the part of the router, because router is routing the data, routing the data from one network to another network by using the optimal path. So how packet is moving from one host to another host. This is the best example where packet is moving in the form of the small black part of the in the form of the packet, and data will transmitted from the sending host to the receiver host by choosing the path A to C, C to E, and then reaching on the router that will sending the packet from one host to another host. Wireless networks is categorized into some important categories. That is category of the wireless network is divided into system interconnection, wireless LAN and wireless MAN. So if you are going to discuss about the wireless network, so we are going to categorize the network into the three main categories. Basically, system interconnection in the form of the point to point, maybe peer to peer, maybe host to host, what type of connection are there. Wireless LAN, how they are providing the local area network to connect the system, connect the devices, that is wireless LAN. And wireless WAN, you can also connect by wireless WAN in a broad area, in the long distance, by without using the wires. So this is the example of the wireless network. So wireless means there is no required of the wire. So by using the frequency range of the bandwidth, on the basis of that we are connecting your devices, n number of devices, by using the wireless network. So this is the example. We are using the connecting technologies like Bluetooth, wireless LAN. So we are using Bluetooth. Bluetooth is a famous technology for the transmission of our data in a local range. In a local range, we can transmit the data from one mobile to another mobile, maybe one system to another system. And many devices, they can also connected in the wireless network, and they can also do the work of the data transmission. So this is the example of the one more example of the wireless network. In the aeroplane, we can also use the wireless because there is no wire. So we are using the wireless technology for communication. So individual models, mobile computers, you may be flying, land, also using the wireless network. Network software protocols, hierarchy, design issue for the layer. So basically, if you are going to discuss about the network, so we are going to discuss about the protocol. So what is the protocol? Protocol is a set of rules that provide the services from one layer to another layer, because it will create a environment through which a network, a model can support to another model for data transmission. So this is the protocol hierarchy, design issue for the layer, connection oriented and connection less services. These are the important part, because connection oriented means we are going to establish the connection first, then you can start communication. But in connection less, there is no need of the connection. So we can do the communication in the wireless network. Service primitives means which type of services you are using for the data transmission, maybe for communication, maybe for business purpose. So we can use. So these are the network software. So these are the network software. So I have already discussed about this one. What is the protocol? The protocol, it is an agreement between the communicating parties on how communication is proceed. That is the protocol. So it is basically play a key role for the agreement between two parties for the communication. So these are the protocol. And what are the services? What type of services basically we are using for the data transmission for one layer to another layer. So that is important. So why interface is important? Because interface play a key role for that data transmission, because without interface, your data will not move from the physical layer to the data link layer to the network layer to the transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, application layer. Similarly, it will moving top level to the bottom level and bottom level to the top level. So all times we need the interface, we need the protocols for that communication, for data transmission. So these are the interface. Basically, it is the most important part in the computer network for OSI model, where we are interfacing for the communication. So network architecture is also play an important role, because if you are going to design a network for the communication, so we need the network architecture as well as we need the protocols. So on the basis of that, we can do the communication, we can start the communication between the two or more than two parties. Protocol stack, this is also a stack where which type of protocol is used by the which layer, that is the combination of protocol stack which can contain. So this is the model. This is the OSI model, where all layers, they are in the bi-directional way, they are communicating. Maybe layer 1 is interacted to layer 2 by providing the interface and protocol, and data you're moving to the host 1, and your host 1 communicating to the host 2. So data will move to the top level to the bottom level, then finally it will reaching from the bottom level to top level, then you can receive the actual data. So data will going to break down into the small part, then finally it will received by the machine in the form of the bit 0 and 1. Then after that, it will go to the upper layer. It will go to the upper layer and combine the data in the form of the frame, in the form of the packet, and it will reach on the host 2 for the complete data. So this is the way we can communicate. So this is another example of the philosopher translators secretary architecture, how it will work on from the start location A to the location B. It is also follow the same way, same path for the communication. So this is the example of the message, how message is break down into the small part, and also added the header. It is going to edit the header one by one. So this is example. Design issue for the layers. These are the design issue, how layers is working for the addressing, for the rules for data transfer, error control, flow control, multiplexing, routing. So these are the design issue of the layers. So how every layer is working on the basis of the data transmission. So these are the services provided by the network, connection oriented and connection less services. So in connection oriented, we can provide the connection, then you can communicate. Otherwise, you cannot communicate. But in connection less, there is no need of the connection, but we need the setup in the frequency based structure through which we can communicate. So this is the example of connection oriented and connection less services. So best example of connection oriented is telephone system, and best example of the connection less services is postal system. So these are the two best example through which we can explain how this is a connection oriented and how this is a connection less services, and which one is a reliable and which is not reliable. Because this is a reliable, because in which data is not data loss is 0. You are never lose the data. So this is the data loss is minimum. You can say very less minimum. You are never lost the data, but in this case, data loss chances of data loss is maximum. So this is the best example of connection oriented and connection less services. So How connection oriented and connection-less services are used, or we can say how they are differ in the service and the example. So these are the example, the connection oriented services. Connection oriented means we are establish the connection. That connection will be then after you can move for the data transmission. But in connection oriented, everything is sequential order. Without sequential order, we cannot establish a connection. So we will send the request, another person is the receive the request, then both are agree and agreement, then after you can establish communication. So this is the part of the connection oriented, and this is the connection less, means unreliable datagram, acknowledgement datagram, request reply. So this is the connection less services where we can use electronics, junk mail, registered mail, database query. So this is the example of the connection less services. Services primitive means services formally specify a set of primitives available to a user to access the services. So maybe in the form of the primitives tells the service to the perform some action or this report on action taken by the peer entity. Normal system call, maybe it is also part of the service primitive. Next, depend on the nature of the service being provided, that can be depend upon the service primitive. So service primitive is not a single part, which is depend upon the situation, the type of the nature of the service provided by the system. So this is service primitives, basically how service primitives is working. We start from the listen, connect, receive, send, disconnect. So this is the structure where we can start communication in the connection oriented model. Service primitives, this is the example. I am not going to discuss. This is the best example of telephone, where you can establish a connection, then after you can start communication. So this is the also example of the connection service primitive. Services to the protocol relation. So we can start the communication by layer. So this is the protocol layer K, and similarly this is the protocol layer. So at the same level, protocol are giving the same service. So by layer protocol is going to change, and we are providing the interface through which we can communicate. Thank you so much.